the man no one saw. In the complex and secretive world of power inside Iran, some leaders stand before the cameras, while others remain hidden in the shadows. For decades, the world attention focused on one man, the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. But behind the closed doors of power in Tehran, another name was whispered. A man rarely seen in public. A man who held no official office for most of his life. Yet many insiders believed he quietly influenced the direction of an entire nation. His name was Mojtaba Khamenei. To some, he was simply the son of Iran's most powerful leader. To others, he was something more. A strategist, a cleric, a political operator working silently behind the curtain of power. But the question remained, who was Mojtaba Khamenei? And how did a man who almost never appeared in public become one of the most mysterious figures in Iranian politics? To understand his story, we must return to the beginning. I'm your host, and you're listening to Who Is That? Today's story is about the man no one saw. His name was Mojtaba Khamenei. The story begins in the holy city of Mashhad, one of the most sacred cities in the Shia Muslim world. It was here, in 1969, that Mojtaba Khamenei was born. His childhood unfolded during one of the most dramatic periods in Iran's modern history. At that time, the country was ruled by a powerful monarchy under the Shah. But beneath the surface, tension was rising. Religious leaders, intellectuals, and ordinary citizens were increasingly dissatisfied with the government. Among the voices of opposition was Mojtaba's father, Ali Khamenei. He was not yet the supreme leader. He was a young cleric involved in the growing revolutionary movement. This meant Mojtaba did not grow up in an ordinary household. Political conversations filled the rooms of their home. Religious discussions shaped everyday life. And danger was never far away. The Shah's secret police constantly monitored revolutionary figures. Arrests, interrogations, and exile were common. For a child growing up in this environment, the world felt unstable, intense, and deeply political. Then came the year that changed everything. Mass protests spread across the country. Millions of Iranians filled the streets. The monarchy collapsed, and the Islamic Revolution reshaped Iran forever. After the revolution, Iran became an Islamic republic. Religious leadership now stood at the center of political power. Ali Khamenei quickly rose through the ranks of the new system. He became one of the important figures within the revolutionary government. In the 1980s, he served as president of Iran. And in 1989, after the death of the revolutionary leader Ayatollah Khamenei, Ali Khamenei became the supreme leader of Iran. This position placed him above all other political authorities. The supreme leader controls the military, oversees the judiciary, and has the final word on major political decisions. For Mojtaba, this meant growing up inside one of the most powerful families in the country. Yet unlike many children of political leaders, Mojtaba avoided public attention. He rarely appeared in the media. He gave no speeches, and he lived a quiet, disciplined life. But the country around him was heading toward a devastating conflict. In 1980, Iran was invaded by neighboring Iraq. The conflict soon became one of the longest wars in modern Middle Eastern history, the Iran-Iraq War. For 8 years, the war consumed the country. Cities were bombed. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers died. Millions of young Iranians joined the front lines. Among them was Mojtaba Khamenei. Like many young men of his generation, he became connected with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, often known as the IRGC. The Revolutionary Guard had been created to defend the Islamic Republic and its revolutionary ideals. It quickly became one of the most powerful institutions in Iran. The war forged deep bonds among those who fought together. Commanders, soldiers, and volunteers developed lifelong relationships built on loyalty and shared sacrifice. These wartime networks would later shape the political structure of Iran. For Mojtaba, the experience strengthened his connection to the revolutionary generation that had fought to protect the Islamic Republic. When the war finally ended in 1988, the country was exhausted. But the legacy of that conflict would influence Iranian politics for decades. After the war, Mojtaba turned toward religious scholarship. He moved to the city of Qom, the spiritual center of Shia Islamic learning. Qom is home to some of the most influential seminaries in the Muslim world. Students there dedicate years to studying Islamic law, theology, philosophy, and religious interpretation. Mojtaba immersed himself in this environment. He studied under respected scholars. He deepened his knowledge of religious jurisprudence, and gradually he became known as a cleric and religious teacher. But Mojtaba was not simply another student. He was the son of the supreme leader. This meant that many people watched his career closely. Yet even during his years of study, he maintained an extremely low profile. No public speeches, no media appearances, almost no interviews. Still, inside political circles, his name slowly began to circulate. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Mojtaba Khamenei was increasingly seen as a figure with quiet influence. Not through official titles, but through relationships. Many insiders believed he had built strong connections within the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and other powerful institutions. Some reports suggested he worked closely with officials inside the office of the supreme leader. This office is one of the most powerful centers of authority in Iran. From here, major decisions about national security, military strategy, and political direction are coordinated. Observers began to describe Mojtaba as someone who operated behind the scenes. He was not a politician seeking popularity. Instead, he appeared to be a strategist working quietly inside the system. And during one dramatic election, his name became widely discussed. In 2005, Iran held a presidential election that shocked many observers. The winner was a relatively unknown conservative politician, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Ahmadinejad campaigned on a message of revolutionary values and resistance to Western influence. His victory surprised many political analysts. Soon after the election, rumors began circulating that Mojtaba Khamenei had supported Ahmadinejad behind the scenes. These claims were never officially confirmed, but they contributed to Mojtaba's reputation as a powerful figure working quietly within the political system. Then came an even more dramatic moment. The presidential election of 2009. After the results were announced, massive protests erupted across the country. Millions of Iranians filled the streets demanding political reform. These demonstrations became known as the 2009 Iranian protests. The government responded with a strong security crackdown. During this period, some critics again accused Mojtaba of playing a role in coordinating security responses. Iranian officials denied these accusations, but the controversy increased global attention on his name. As Mojtaba's influence became a subject of international discussion, Western governments began paying closer attention. Some countries accused him of involvement in internal political repression. These accusations led to sanctions and criticism from abroad. Inside Iran, however, Mojtaba remained almost completely silent. He rarely appeared in public. He avoided interviews, and state media spoke very little about him. This silence only added to the mystery. Who exactly was Mojtaba Khamenei? How much influence did he truly hold? And what role might he play in the future of Iran? Over time, analysts began describing Mojtaba as a shadow figure in Iranian politics, a man whose influence was real, yet difficult to measure. In Iran's political system, power does not always come from elections. Sometimes it comes from trust, from revolutionary credentials, from religious authority, and from deep relationships within powerful institutions. Mojtaba appeared to possess all of these. For years, speculation focused on one question above all others. Could Mojtaba Khamenei one day succeed his father as supreme leader? For most of his life, Mojtaba Khamenei remained almost invisible to the public. Rarely photographed, rarely quoted, rarely heard, yet always discussed. He was the son of the supreme leader, a cleric shaped by revolution, a participant in war, and a figure many believed operated behind the curtain of power. In Iran's political system, silence can sometimes be the greatest form of influence. And Mojtaba Khamenei mastered that silence. Now the world continues to ask a simple question. Will Mojtaba Khamenei simply continue the legacy of his father? Or will he shape an entirely new chapter in the history of the Islamic Republic? Only time will reveal the answer. But one thing is certain. The story of Iran is still being written, and the man who once lived in the shadows may yet step fully into the light.